Hey guys, today on the Brain Rot, I'm going to talk about the Beyond the Spider-Verse movie, which was a movie I was really, really hyped for. I think visually, I think is absolutely incredible. But within a day of seeing it, I saw it on the first day, I was super hyped. Within a day of seeing it, I was really sour on it because there was things of it that just didn't line up for me. Now that being said, I think Into the Spider-Verse is the greatest sort of like superhero movie there is. I think it's just so enjoyable. I think it's got so much heart. I think the messages that it gives are amazing. I think it's so funny. It's so stylistic. It pays respects to everything about the character that fans know and love. I'm talking about like just full on Spider-Man. Forget about Miles Morales. Really really good movie, but Beyond the Spider-Verse, Beyond's the next one coming. Across the Spider-Verse, it just missed the mark for me. So obviously, spoilers ahead. The movie's been out for a while now. It's just this YouTube channel's, pretty new. So I'm only finally talking about it in front of you guys and outside of my ramblings on Instagram stories and stuff like that. For me, I feel that the idea, if a police captain in some respect interrelated to Spider-Man doesn't die, then a universe explodes, is one of the dumbest, if not single most ridiculous premises for a movie ever. Because that's what the movie's about. The movie is about this secret society which has to maintain that a police captain somehow related to Spider-Man has to die or universes explode. And that happens, right? Miguel isn't lying. We see that is happening. It's crazy. Okay? Why do I have issues with this? For me, it limits, the Spider-Man conceptually to a specific story or series of events rather than him being a character to who anything can happen. It puts these constrictions of just like, no, like Spider-Man is this. It's obviously there's loads of character in the movie and there's loads of personality, but that thing there, it does reduce him to that sort of level, which I found metatextually shrinks the character to the point where for Spider-Man to exist, he, she, they, it must exist in a dimension where the concept of a police captain also exists. And this implies that in order to tell a Spider-Man branded story, certain beats must be hit. And if not hit, it would literally end the universe. That's what's going on in this movie. Like, in universe, it sort of creates a narrative blunt force trauma or injury to the person watching it, wherein the ideas of fate and destiny are inextricably intertwined with the science fiction concept of a multiverse, which is bizarre because the whole idea of multiverses is infinite possibilities. But this is like kind of putting these constrictions on it. And the fact of by characters repeatedly referring to their own real world as canon is just like a meme. The movie draws unnecessary attention to the narrative architecture beneath what they're watching, and in doing so, the corporate brand architecture as related and reflected in our real world. What I mean by this is by constantly highlighting that this is a comic and is a comic and based on a comic, but it's a movie. See, here's some live action, but it's a comic, but it's a movie. Like, by doing that sort of constantly highlighting that, the audience is distanced further and further from the on-screen events. At least I was. And pushed into a space where they're forced to consider that they're watching a story, and specifically a Spider-Man trademark brand story from Marvel Comics. I think just like exposing that sort of level in architecture and linking it to fate, it's so far removed for me from the original film and what that was doing, or at least the intention that I felt it was giving me. and other audience members as well. I'm just speaking for myself here, right? If you love the movie, I mean, more power for you to you. And there's things about this movie I do love. It's just frustrating, man. Like, again, in universe, if it lights on fire the idea that these Spider-Men would or could ever be united in any way, right? As since they are shown to all be at different parts of their story, their fixed narrative they have to live on, i.e. some of them have had a police captain die, and some of them haven't and are waiting for that to happen. So wouldn't it be like this constant interdimensional civil war of the Spider-Man, as Spider-Man, women, thems would be desperately trying to avoid their sundry predestined fates? Like, why is it only Miles who's like, I'm gonna do my own thing? And the thing is it's, they're not just random Spider-Man. They're saying, like, this is Spectacular Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man from the video game. This is all these. And we know these characters. We've spent time with these characters. They would not go along with this. They would not just be like, hey, I'm going to hang around till my police captain dies. There would be huge civil wars. Now, maybe that's what we're going to get into in Beyond the Spider-Verse. But, it's kind of setting up, I guess, with the band. But wouldn't it be already happening, is my point. A huge negative of this movie is just it reminds you you're watching a movie constantly. Constantly throughout the movie, I knew I was watching a movie, and that's what it's drawing attention to constantly for me. Positioning Spider-Man as well as the most important person in any given universe. If not, like, wouldn't every single person have their own canon? And, like, any large variation from that predestined fate would cause, as we've seen in the movie, the end of the universe. Which would, due to a butterfly effect, inevitably make the interdimensional travel which this movie is based on not simply suicidal, but also not coherently possible in, like, any way. I don't know, man. It's just a thought. I've talked about this sort of stuff to death before, and maybe I've rambled about it, because I've went on about it along my Instagram stories and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, hey, you got it wrong. But I mean, like, I feel some of the responses I've got back to this have been bizarre. Because when he didn't save the police captain, the universe started to blow up. Miguel wasn't doing that. We saw that in the, what is it called? Mumbai Hatton, or whatever it was called. I haven't watched the movie since it came out. Miguel wasn't doing that. It's like, dude, the universe begins to blow up. It begins to actually blow up. Right? But it begins to blow up, and we're reinformed that because the police captain didn't die. I don't know, man. Just a thought. It's like, for me, it's clear the movie is supposed to be about choosing your own fate. But we literally watch a universe start to blow up after something goes wrong. The implication is that Miles will have to find the answer to the universe blowing up, alongside making his own choices and avoiding Miguel. And those stakes are made incredibly, incredibly clear in Mumbai Hatton, or whatever it was called, right? I don't know, man. The movie, just the story implies that the vast majority of Spider-Man have in fact had a police captain die in their lives. You have that scene where they're all gathered together, talking to Miles before he escapes and everything, which, I don't know, I feel that proves my original point here. It's like, bro, they brought back Spectacular Spider-Man just to show his captain died after season 2. It's just like crazy sort of like disrespect to that character and others. That he's like just going along with like, oh hey, you gotta hang around here so, your girlfriend's dad can die or whatever. I don't know, man. Like literally, even if Miguel is wrong, he's working with data from thousands, if not millions of Spider-Man. it's such a strange premise. Maybe I'm alone on this. I know there's loads of stuff to enjoy, and I mean, I enjoyed it too. Like, I was really into the the Spider-Punk stuff and all that. I mean, it's really cool. It's really enjoyable. It's presented really well as well. But the premise of the movie is about if Spider-Man stories don't happen in the same way stuff blows up. It's weird, my friend. This changed to No Way Home. Maybe I'll talk about No Way Home in the future. Because I got stuff to say about that movie. And it's bloody positive. I was shocked how much I loved that. I'll have to do a No Way Home one eventually.